The story of LAPTRUST and the story of Kenya are joined at the hip. It is a story that spans more than 90 years and has seen the two mirror each other's changes, growth and challenges, traversing different eras of the Republic and its people. The genesis of this great pension scheme can be traced back to the Municipalities Act Ordinance of 1928, when Kenya was still under the British colonial rule. The Nairobi Municipality Superannuation Fund was the first and only pension fund to have been established under the provisions of the Municipalities Ordinance of 1928. The council was for that reason the fund's trustee. Any member who had attained an age of 60 years and had completed not less than 10 years of continuous employment was entitled to a pension. Throughout the period between 1963 and 1978, besides recruiting new members, there was no substantial growth recorded in the affairs or activities of the super fund. It should, however, be noted that the fund's trustees for the first time invested in real estate, having acquired Travel House in the year 1975 at a cost of 5.7 million. This state of affairs continued until 1978, when the super fund will descend from its self-induced slumber and grow in leaps and bounds. LAPTRUST, as it stands today, is a blue-chip organization and one of the biggest pension schemes in Kenya, with an asset base of over 60 billion Kenya shillings.
LAPTRUST Imara I-REIT, we conceptualized it a few years back on the backdrop of our successful investment in real estate over many years. The property portfolio which we hold as a scheme have been generally performing well and fully occupied in most cases. So it was a feeling by our trustees and our fund managers that we should be able to unlock further value by releasing some of the assets into the market.
LAPTRUST Imara I-REIT is an income rate, of course with an intention of listing it Nairobi Securities Exchange. The main reason why we've gone this direction as a scheme is there are a number of things we want to achieve. Number one, we want to do what we call price discovery, in the sense that when you take an asset to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, then the forces of demand and supply then brings in the intrinsic value of the asset. So that's one of the things which we want to achieve. The other thing is that we want to extract liquidity out of this investment, because technically what we've done is converting properties into shares, more or less. So this will also enable Kenyans to own a piece of some of those very strategic properties that we have in our portfolio. So we believe it's going to be a win-win, of course, as well as catalyzing.
I can say it has been a very challenging journey for us to get here. It's taken us about 6 years, if I may. The first challenge being acquiring 7 investors as required by law. Could not get other investors to join us in the REIT. However, later on we did get exemption from the CMA to have only one investor, which is LAPTRUST. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we had. And also getting the books of accounts be ready for a REIT, segregating the properties from being, can I call it a conjoined account, into separate segregated accounts for each and every property. That took us about a year to separate those accounts. So it's challenging, but we made it through thick and thin, sometimes even squabbles internally and with our service providers. But at the end of the day, when everybody learned that it's a historic moment we are heading towards, it became easier and the team gelled.
So currently the challenges that we're experiencing are largely around investor awareness and knowledge. This is where not very many people know about how to structure a REIT and set up a REIT, let alone invest in one. The other challenge we're facing is that bringing REITs to market is quite significantly costly. We are looking to see how to bring that down. And finally, you find if you look at a market like ours, there are limited investment grade property assets that you can put into a REIT.
Today, the LAPTRUST scheme caters for over 7,000 pensioners and over 17,000 active members drawn from all counties and associated organizations. The LAPTRUST Imara I-REIT is a restricted close-ended real estate investment trust that will be listed on the restricted sub-segment of the main investment market segment of the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
LAPTRUST did apply through CPF to do an income REIT called LAPTRUST Imara I-REIT. So as it will be, as regulators, we assess those applications. Then after their, of course, compliance with the requirements, we then give the approval for those REITs or securities to then go to the market. And I guess that is how we have the LAPTRUST Imara I-REIT being listed so that it can be in the market available for everyone who is interested.
This is just a progression of what we've done in the REITs market in Kenya since 2015. And for the first time, we are listing a REIT from the pension sector. We play a big role in providing avenues for investors to access such investment grade assets like REITs. And the Imara I-REIT is going to go a long way in opening up an avenue for pension schemes to come to the capital markets. So we believe that when we start to see the trading of these units, a lot of pension funds are going to be able to really understand what the capital markets can offer. Because what REITs do, they allow you to sell smaller portions of the real estate, unlike direct property ownership. It'll also enable them unlock locked-in capital in direct property and allow this capital to find other investment classes, be they bonds, equities, or any other products that are offered in the capital markets. So it's a great development, and we believe it'll provide the real beginning of getting the pension sector to access the capital markets in the real estate sector.
The expertise which comes in to take care of the REITs is actually the best solution to actually separate their property from themselves and give it to a trust, which then manages it on their behalf, and they are able to really be accountable, be able to ensure there is a lean cost structure, and at the end of the day, the benefit is for the retirement scheme.